Well, Sean, we're into October, buddy, and it's a pumpkin spice, menagerie and cooler weather and World Series coming up around the corner,
Yes,
my
sir.
friend. So we'll mention baseball just to tick off those that get tired of us saying it. But it's also October is also financial planning month. So we thought we'd talk about that a little bit. But you know what? I'm going to do it because I don't care because my Tigers went 15 innings the other night and lost. And it was a bummer. I stayed up and watched that whole thing. What a game, though.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better game five for both the Tigers series and the Brewers Cubs.
Yeah,
So
yeah, both of them were good. Yeah. So anyway, they better luck next year, fellas. But let's talk about October being financial planning month, right?
okay.
Not just Halloween and costumes and all that stuff. So let's just start with some basic stuff people can think about, right? I think probably the best place to start is what questions do you want to ask, and get them asked. Like start having the conversations.
They should. I mean, there's no dumb question, right? And people say that all the time. Oh, I've probably got a dumb question for you, but well, the reality of it is, and there is no dumb question when it comes to financial planning or finance or retirement in general. And there's the reason that that's the case, that there's a real lack of transparency or education when it comes to finance. I actually had the opportunity to go out to my son's. He was in seventh grade, his economics class last week, and do a little class presentation, teaching moment on just the basics of planning. Whether it's like the different asset classes, we talked about cash and income and equities. We talked about dollar cost averaging, which people don't really understand. Um, and then we got to talk about what compound interest really meant, and just bring it down to their
Wow,
terms. And
for seventh graders, that's awesome, though.
and it was cool. Like these kids have different goals, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, and the one kid was saving for a Suron, which is one of those electric motorcycles.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, how much is that? And I got anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 in the class. Like the kids had no idea, but we settled on $4,000. Like that's what the price of the Suron is. So we talked the whole class about, okay, what do we do to save to get to that? How do you save? How do you collect interest? Whatever it may be. But the reality of it is that as simplistic as that was for that seventh grade class,
Right.
there are a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to finance. And when we get in a group setting like that, even the seventh graders, guys, you have any questions? No. Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah.
I understand it all completely.
Yeah.
And far too often that happens. So, there's no, I guess my point is, and we do a lot of education throughout the Salt Lake Valley, north, south. My point is that ask the questions, understand what you're really doing, and take the time to be educated by somebody who's willing to give you time.
Yeah.
If an advisor isn't willing to answer the questions, they're probably not the right advisor for you individually, because you need to understand the ins and outs of your plan. And I promise you that nobody's going to care more about your money than you do. So get your questions answered.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point because a lot of times people will come out to these events or they'll come out to educational seminars or whatever, and they think, well, cool, maybe somebody will ask the question that's similar to my situation, and then I won't have to,
Yeah.
and hey, it's your money, it's you've worked your whole life for it. Ask the question, right? I mean, no, like you said, there's no dumb questions. And Sean, a lot of people are do well with writing things out. So maybe step 2 for financial planning month is write out your financial goals and dreams. A lot of people are big into like vision boards and things like that. Some people say, hey, if you don't write it down, it's just a wish. So what's your thoughts there?
Right. I love it. I mean, every family that we work with has a clearly defined written plan, but that only handles like the financial side. So when you look at your retirement,
Mm-hmm.
you've got your goals and dreams, and then you've got the finances, right? And if you can mesh those two together, you get what's called your best financial life, your best retirement life. So we look at that and say, all right, what do you want to do in retirement? What are your goals, beliefs, values, desires? Do you want to donate money to charity? Do you want to go on the big cruise every year? Do you want to take your family on a trip? Do you want to just road trip across the country? in a camper van that you've converted. Like there's a lot of different things that can happen in retirement, right? But laying those out and at least having a rough baseline of costs. I'm going to go to Europe and it's going to cost us $15,000. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Well, we understand that. We also understand your day-to-day living. So how do we solve the $15,000 problem to allow you to do this trip, whether it's every year, every other year, every 3 years, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, how do we make sure that you can do the little things that you want to do? Oh, my grandkids live in North Carolina or, Washington State. I want to go see them a couple times a year. Mm-hmm. How do we plan for that? But we really can't plan for that unless we know it's coming. And the only way to know it's coming is if we start to map out the year and write things down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people like that, and it's an easy tool. There's lots of little planning tools out there you could download and use for writing out the goals. So that's a great way to go. And then maybe challenge yourself. If that's step 3, Sean, sometimes you'll hear people say when they're trying to fudge the numbers because they just really want to retire and they're like, we're getting by on $5,000 a month. I think we could make $4,000 a month work or $3,500. And if we do $3,500, well, then we can certainly retire early or whatever. Okay. Well, Before you pull that trigger, try living on it for a month or two, right? It's challenge yourself.
Well, and it's just little things, right? Like I do this myself and I do this with my kids and we look through and my son eats school lunch just about every day. And at his school that he goes to, it's not like they give you a tray of food and here it is, and it's $2.75 or whatever it may be. It's open market. You can go grab cookies and you can grab chocolate milks and sodas and I want chicken today, whatever it may be.
A little different than when I went to school, that's for sure.
So next thing we know, his lunch bill is $15 because he thought, my buddy Jacob forgot a cookie today. I got him one too. And we told him, I said, hey, listen, let's take lunch for a week. And let's just see how much we save. And we'll give you half of whatever we save.
Okay.
So now if you think about it that way, I'm on the go a lot. And I have a tendency to go and do what's easy for lunch, which is I go out.
Yeah.
Right. There's a restaurant. There's all sorts of places right by me. I go grab something quick so I can come back. Well, I realized that was an $80 a week expense. So now I'm spending $300 a week or a month outside of my household eating out. So that same thing, challenge myself to go and I live 2 minutes away from here. Go home and eat lunch.
Yeah.
Go sit down, make a sandwich, have leftovers.
And it's not, people, if you're thinking about being a retiree or pre-retiree, people say, well, I don't want to live on a budget. It's like, well, you're not talking about a budget. You're talking about just trying to kind of see, what are some things you could do? I mean, think about your Amazon orders, right? I mean, or cut that down a little bit or whatever. So just, again, challenge yourself as part of financial planning month, maybe just to see what what little tweaks you could make so that you can maybe be better prepared for your retirement. And then
so think about like that $300 a month that I spend in lunch.
Yeah.
It's $3,600 a year. So if I cut that down by half, that's $1,800. I could save that money, or $1,800 is 2 plane tickets. Or, if I eat at home every time, I mean, that's a trip, right? So just by changing where we spend our money, it's a big deal, and it's going to allow you to do more of the things that you want to do.
Yeah, great point. Exactly. So, and then step 4, Sean, again, for financial planning month here is take inventory, right? A lot of times, if you reach out to an advisor, folks want to reach out to you guys' team. You guys have different resources you could send people. Hey, here's a list of how to pull together your financial inventory, right? Stuff like that. Start to pull it together so that you can really truly see what you do have, especially if you're over 50.
Yeah, it could be as simple as, we ask for an asset list and we ask for statements. And more often than not, if people have bounced jobs around, they're like, oh, I forgot about that 401k way over here.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that I even had that $35,000 or $100,000. I should probably bring all this together. So it's not just an exercise to see how much somebody has. It's an exercise to confirm, hey, you understand where all your money is, and let's now make it work in harmony with one another. So I don't want to have assets over here, unless having money in different institutions or in different places actually serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And then we've segmented our assets for a reason, not just because we forgot about, the most recent 401k.
Yeah. Yeah. So, those steps are some simple steps. Financial Planning Month may not necessarily be an official holiday, but it certainly maybe should be one that you have on your calendar to start paying attention to, especially, people start thinking about fourth quarter, they start thinking about the holidays, and they start thinking, well, right after that's going to be tax season. So it's not a bad idea to start pulling some of this stuff together. Any final thoughts, Sean, before we wrap up?
If you're not working with an advisor, now's a good month, financial planning month to do that.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think that as you learn about money, teach. We have our staff here, we want them to teach and constantly be getting better. But at the end of the day, don't just save and not reward yourself. Pick milestones, pick goals. And if you hit those goals, celebrate your progress, because saving is really hard to do in a lot of instances. So celebrate the fact that you're hitting certain areas of savings gains or growth or whatever it may be, and reward yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't blow up your plan, but reward yourself for those successes.
Great points. Exactly. So if you need help with some of that, if you're looking for some guidance or whatever that might be, or even some tools, reach out to Sean and the team. We'll put links in the show descriptions below so you can check that out and get started today with the folks at Elevated Retirement Group. And we'll see you next time here on Retirement Elevated with Sean. Again, don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, and of course here on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button, notification bell, and of course that subscribe button. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, Sean. Have a good one, buddy.
Hey, thanks. Talk to you soon.
This podcast has been prepared for educational and marketing purposes only. The information in this video is general in nature, does not constitute personalized investment advice, and does not provide a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All investments involve risk, and different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk. There can be no assurance that any specific investment strategy will be profitable or suitable to you. Additionally, although information presented in this podcast is believed to be factual and up to date, we do not guarantee its accuracy. You should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation, and should consult a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies mentioned in this video. Investment advisory services are offered through Elevated Capital Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not constitute an endorsement of Elevated Capital Advisors LLC by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the firm has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance advice and products may be offered by a third-party insurance producer, which may be affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC and Elevated Capital Advisors LLC. Walter Storholt, Mark Killian, and Third Wheel Media LLC are not clients of Elevated Capital Advisors. They receive cash compensation for their assistance in preparing and hosting this podcast, and for providing the endorsement contained in this podcast. Because Walter, Mark, and Third Wheel Media are compensated in connection with this podcast, they have a material conflict of interest in providing their endorsement.